This conference will now be recorded.
Can you see the bar?
Sorry?
Can you see this? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see the desktop.
Can you see this bar that moving around?
No, I don't see anything. I can only see the desktop with your Eclipse, NetBeans,
Oh,
IntelliJ.
okay. So it's not showing you the bar. Okay.
No, I can see it now. I mean, your File Explorer.
Okay. Okay. So let's start. Okay. So now this is a learning outcome trip where we're going to understand how to explore innovative computing ideas. So we're going to focus more on innovation, talking about different technologies such as blockchain, cloud computing, and emerging technologies. So our indicative content for today are understand the importance of developing innovative computing system, explore innovation that are common across the computing industry, evaluate new and emerging area of computing, benchmark computing system with other organizations, explore the cost associated with introducing computing changes. So task number one, we're looking into how important of developing innovative computing systems. So a couple of these technologies that can help improve communication nowadays are used by every company to improve effective communication, and employee of the organization are well coordinated and informed about tasks that have to be performed. So we do see that communication within the organization is really important. You will improve effectiveness, where employees can be more productive and increase the revenue of the company. Moreover, due to the emergence of artificial intelligence, companies can now make better use of technologies. So, for instance, companies on the website, they might have live chat box, which can directly assist customers. And when the support cannot happen, is that the chat box can definitely transfer your inquiry to a member of the team, which will give you a more in-depth assistance. Then we have protection against attacks. So we do know that nowadays there's large amount of cyber attacks by black hat hackers, which can penetrate or crack into any network of any organizational network. So online attacks are increasing at an alarming rate, which can prove to be very risky for a business. Therefore, developers need to design cybersecurity defense systems to protect companies from dangerous threats. So the more we move into new technology and the more risks companies can be facing, and the more the demand of cybersecurity analysts are required. So employees need technologies to work efficiently. The role of technology in business is expanding at the breakneck pace. Employees also expect the supervisor to provide them with the latest equipment so they can work with effectively as well as efficiently. So we do know that new softwares are released every day due to the large amount of businesses in the world. So depending on the nature of your business, your supervisor is required to follow with the trend and provide appropriate training for the employees. Unlimited supply of knowledge. Technology provides an endless supply of technologies and values insight. Increase employee engagement. So as we discussed in the previous session, all these components are related to each other. So by having a good, well-structured company, that will also increase productivity from the employees. And also, an important aspect is exploring new market for growth. So technology in business is necessary for expansion. The more software are introduced in the company, the higher are the chance of achieving more tasks in less time and increasing the productivity. Also, we do need to see how this technology works in other sectors, where we can see technology can bring cryptocurrency into use. Nowadays, the technologies such as blockchain, which are initially used for cryptocurrency and transactions, are now moving into other sectors such as healthcare, finance, and many others. So in simple terms, blockchain is a digital ledger that can maintain all the transaction records so that you know when and where your money is being transferred online. So we can see as blockchain as a database and which works on a distributed network, which means that is decentralized. There is no any central authority which regulates all the legislation. Therefore, blockchain is one of the most emerging technology that will take over in the future. And as we said, is not used just for cryptocurrency and the crypto market, but is expanding in many other sectors. It's helping sectors such as healthcare and finance. So now we're going to explore innovation that are common across the company industries, evaluate new and emerging areas of computing. Coming back to our blockchain, we gave a couple of definitions where we explained that is a decentralized ledger. So the way blockchain works is there is all these computers which are called nodes, and they're all connected in a peer-to-peer network, which means that all these ledger, these databases are the same on each single computer, each single node, and they communicate with this chain. So the advantages of this blockchain is that is immutable. So all the information that are stored into the ledger cannot be muted. Therefore, if a hacker tries to break into the system, trying to hack the ledger and try to duplicate the ledger, by trying to do that, you break the chain, and once you break the chain, you automatically change the hash code. So that this is the reason why encryption and decryption is really important for blockchain technologies, where hackers cannot decrypt this system, because by trying to decrypt, you break the chain and generate a new hashing code, and that by breaking one node, you completely shut down the network. So with this massive functionality, blockchain is pretty much unhackable. So potential applications include funds transfers, settling trades, supply chain, ledger, voting, etc. So we do know that this blockchain are mainly applications. So as a web developer, a blockchain engineer, you do have these applications where they're not just used for trading market. As I said, it can be used for supply chain ledger, where all the informations of a product which comes from the producer can go through each single member of the supply chain, and all this information can be stored in this ledger, which is simply a database. And the advantage of this is that we can, by storing information in this ledger, we can now eliminate central authorities such as banks or other entities. So by cutting these members, we can finally go from the producer directly to the end user. So blockchain is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. Blockchain is essentially a digital ledger transaction which is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer system of the blockchain. Examples of innovative computing systems. The properties of distributed ledger technologies. So I already mentioned that is immutable. So blockchain is really fascinating. I do find blockchain really interesting. What I would say about this technology is that what is really fascinating is the way how is immutable. So with these currencies or protocols, we can now create a smart contract. So if you don't really have an idea of what smart contract is simply a code. Is simply a code where you state, whereby you declare that you're the only owner of this product. So say for example, we trying to purchase a car, you can now write a smart contract, which means that you're the only, for example, you're the only owner of this contract, you're the only owner of this car. And the process, the programming, the smart contract is the only way you can prove that you're the owner of the car. So a smart contract can be written on not for every protocol. It can be written on the Ethereum network. So what we need to understand that blockchain technology is divided into layers. So at the top layer we have blockchain, which is the technology. In the middle layer we have protocols. So by protocols, we do need to understand the currencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Cardano, many other currencies. But not all these currencies are able to create tokens. So tokens are simply digital assets. And as I said, these digital assets are smart contract. And this smart contract, as I said before, is just the way you can prove that you're the owner of this asset, which assets could be NFTs or many other digital assets. So that's why blockchain is gonna move into every single sector. So I made the example of a car. With smart contract, you can now prove that you're the owner of this car, you're the owner of this asset. And I also mentioned that it's secure, so it cannot be decrypted. So by being secure, as I mentioned, is if a hacker tries to duplicate the ledger, you definitely break the chain, and therefore your block is not communicating with other block. Your database, like your ledger, is not communicating with the other ones, with the other nodes in the network. Also is anonymous, which says the identity of the participant is either anonymous or pseudonymous. So people, as we can see, whoever is on this ledger or this transaction are visible, but you cannot see the real name of the person, because the only way you can prove that you're the owner of this asset is through the address. So each transaction is going to be assigned with an address. It can be similar to like is basically a string of characters and numbers, and it's really important for you to keep your address safe, because that's one of the only way to prove that you're the owner of this smart contract. It's distributed, or the participant have the copy of the ledger, and this complete transparency. So we do have timestamp. The transaction timestamp is recorded on the blockchain, and anonymous. So all the network participants agree to validating of each one on the records. So cloud computing technologies allows people to use the digital resources stored in virtual space by the way of network. So as we said, cloud computing, remote servers, and from these remote servers are really useful, because we can, as developers, we can work with, we can retrieve any type of data from these remote servers, depending on the nature of your business. So cloud computing is a popular option for people and business for a number of reasons, including cost savings, increased productivity, speed and efficiency, performance and security. Cloud computing can also be both public and private, where a public cloud service provides over the internet for free, while private cloud service, on the other hand, only provides service to a certain number of people. So now we looked into a couple of advantages of cloud computing, which are cost proficiency, the more secure, more flexible, infinite storage, rapid development, streamlined work, and backup recovery. So from past experience, I do know that from a cloud computing, I can retrieve a Jamstack environment, where I do know that Jamstack stands for JavaScript application API markup stack. So where developers do not need to start from scratch, but you can retrieve all these. You can work with this package directly by retrieving them from these remote servers. So coming from your experience, where have you worked with cloud computing?
So yeah, I have worked for Salesforce, which is one of the cloud computing applications, which is quite in demand and quite growing. So yeah, I have worked on that, and currently, not me, but yeah, in one of the modules that I am working on. So in one of the modules which the other people in the team are handling. So there is AWS again, which is again related to cloud computing.
Oh, okay. Have you ever heard of Jamstack before?
No, I am not.
Yeah. So like from my experience, which I've worked, I didn't really use there a lot, but I've been in a situation where I was required to retrieve this Jamstack, where it's simply some it's like packages. Is a for example a predefined package where it comes with JavaScript APIs and markup, so you don't really need to write stuff from scratch because it just comes as a package, and this can be retrieved from cloud computing servers. So this is one example of where I had to work with cloud computing. So now we do also have example of IoT. So what is really emerging nowadays is not just IoT, but we need to even take consideration of IoB. So and IoB is not really famous at the moment, but it's simply Internet of Behavior, where we can see whenever you open like your web browser and you see adverts, is because you've been searching that for that product. So through data analysis and AI, they can recommend you stuff. But with IoB, they can recommend you a specific item or product at the specific time. So the way IoB works is really advanced. They're really deep learning. Is really deep learning where they can at this point imagine advertises a product that you're looking for in a certain time or in a certain time. This is to me is like cutting edge. Like the way they're going into deep learning is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, so IoB is basically what comes from a collection of data of IoT. So we know that IoT are simply all these appliances, all these devices such as Alexa, which they collect this data, and they obviously store this data in a remote servers in this cloud. So the definitions describe the network of physical objects that are embedded with sensor, software, and other technologies for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices and systems over the internet. So by means of low-cost computing, the cloud, big data, and analytics, and mobile technology, physical things can share and collect the data within minimal human intervention. So IoT in the next 5 or 10 years is going to take over, where we can see that these devices collect big data. So we're not talking about simple, we're not talking about a small size of data. So all these data have huge amount of storage. That's why they have to be collected and analyzed as big data. So as I said, example of IoT devices are sensor and or for example smart meter. So nowadays we have smart meters where they instantaneously check the your consume of they can check your consume, report it to the company, where they do have all the data analytics, data analyst, where they collect the data from these smart meters, process the data, and then send it over to the energy supplier. So, for example, you might have your smart meter at home, where the data is then this smart meter is simply an IoT device where you check your consumption, you collect the data, send it over to the data analyst, which is going to process the data. Once the data is processed, you then send it over to, for example, British Gas or whoever is your energy supplier. And by doing so, by training all this data, they can recommend you when is the best time for you to wash your clothes, when is the best time to do any type of activity. So this is how IoT can work, how they collect the data and how they process it and then transfer it into other department or business who might require to have this data. So there's virtual private networks, VPN, which has really been used in the past few years. So with this virtual VPN is an encrypted connection over the internet from a device to a network. So we do need to know that back in the days, hackers can simply hack into your Wi-Fi, and different type of cyber attacks could be the middleman, for example, where this hacker can break your Wi-Fi network and for example, you're opening your mobile application, your banking mobile application, and these hackers can be middleman, where they can communicate with you, and you might think it's the bank, while it's this hacker, and the bank is communicating with the hacker, where the hacker is improvising that is you. So he's mirroring the situation, and therefore that's when this is where VPN could take over, and by moving your network in a remote location, you can now change your location and keep your password encrypted, your connectivity encrypted, and make life harder for hackers. So with VPN, the company can now control the network traffic while providing important security features such as authentication and data privacy. So as I said, with a VPN, you're more protected. The encrypted connection helps to ensure that sensitive data is safely transmitted. So it increases your level of security. So for example, here we have client side and server side, where the local network, which is where you connect, for example, your LAN, your local network has a Wi-Fi, and by activating your VPN, you can now make it more secure. That's why whenever you log into, whenever you you're in a building and you try to log in into a Wi-Fi, could be your business Wi-Fi or your employer's Wi-Fi, you always need to keep your VPN on to check how secure is this network. Once you check how secure it is, then you automatically create your own secure network. So we already spoke about blockchain. Couple of benefits of them is transparency, redundancy, reduces transaction cost, faster transaction settlement, effective auditability, traceability, security, worldwide adoption, automated operations, to open distributed architecture, flexible. So these are more features of IoT, achieve customer centrality, gathering rich data, and then security measures, reduces in operation cost. So now the benchmark computing system with other organization. So we need to understand that benchmarking is general business practice that measures an organization quality and performance. It is a formal way of comparing practice, process, and outcome of the organization with other in the industry to assess whether the company is performing above, on, or below average. It is primarily data driven. So IT benchmarking provides value input into how other businesses are tackling critical initiatives. So if you expect to consider IT benchmarking, when you have your overall business goals, your decision-making process, your customer pain point and goals, and what is easy to measure and report. IT operations require a number of activities vital to the health of the IT department. Okay, so regarding the software development, evaluating your software development can be a complicated process. So measuring success in this area will always depend on characteristic of the project and the overall goals. So in a DevOps team or environment, you might look to measure and therefore benchmark areas such as time spent on innovation, number of detection, agility, quality work, and improvements. Have you ever had experience where they had to measure, they had to evaluate how effective was your department? Nitin?
Yeah, sorry. Can you come again?
Have you ever been in a situation where they had to evaluate how successful, how good was your department So, for example, here it says in a developing environment, you might look at to measure how successful is the department. So these are a couple of the aspects, like time spent on the innovation, number of defects, agility, and quality of work.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, there are different phases of the software development cycle. So, one of them is the requirement analysis. So, when the defects are encountered and there are some requirement gaps that are understood and identified at the very initial stage, so that's how we can avoid the later delays of deliveries, and also it can reduce the cost. And also, if we talk about the agile process, so if I mean from the very beginning we have been following the waterfall model, but now as and when we are progressing it, the methodology that we are now implementing is agile, which is like as soon as things are building, we are ready with the development, we are ready with the delivery of it to the customers. So I think that in a way has improvised and improved the quality of work, and also has been more efficient and more effective in terms of the overall handover and delivery.
Okay, I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have given a good couple of examples. So now we are going to explore the cost associated with introducing computing changes. So when it comes to evaluating the cost, you always need to take consideration that with the system management is usually the biggest cost over the lifetime of the IT system. So by transitioning and buying these new softwares, they might be cost effective, they might be expensive initially, but looking at the long term goals and profit, the investment might be making more sense. So it is essential to consider full system life cycles cost, savings of everything. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
So, lack of accurate information or cost for information and communication technology hampers effective decision making on ICT proposal. So the initial cost when it comes into installing uh, these new softwares might be related to consultancy, where you might have internal consultancy department, or you might have to require to hire IT consultants. Then you have to consider the hardware costs, so the physical components. After that, we need to look into licenses to run these softwares, which might have high fees or low, depending on which package you're purchasing, if it's a standard package or a pro or enterprise package. Software configuration and customization work, cost of installation, then staff training and providing the necessary infrastructure such as network cabling and electricity supply, and also compliance with health and safety law related to computer users. Once we done the first initial stage, we then have to look into maintaining this equipment, which will have further costs for keep them up to date. So once it comes to understand the total cost of the ownership, you have to look into TCO, which aims to analyze the actual cost of purchasing a product or service from a given supplier beyond the basic purchase prices. So it is in this sense, TCO brings together all of the costs associated with a particular product or service throughout its life cycle. So this was everything for today, class.